In this video I will be checking if the Nike ALPHAFLYs will actually make me a faster runner or not. I will be comparing them to these, my regular running shoes, the Hoka One One Cliftons. I couldn't resist it anymore, I just went and bought these, the Nike ALPHAFLYs. After all the hype that's been surrounding these shoes for the past year, I just needed to try them out myself. The question I will try to get an answer to in today's video is, was it a mistake or not to spend $300 on these shoes? If you are a runner, or of course you're a runner, otherwise I don't think you would be watching this video about these crazy running shoes. But then you have most probably not missed all the talk that's been going around the last couple of years about the super shoes that Nike has been releasing in some different variants. It all started back in 2017 when the Nike Vaporflies was developed for Eliud Kipchoge's first attempt at getting a sub 2-hour marathon. To be honest, when I was watching that Breaking 2 project back in 2017 and I was hearing all this hype and rumors around these magical shoes, the new Nike Vaporflies, I was super skeptical. I thought it was all just marketing and hype surrounding these shoes. And I really didn't believe that they would make you run significantly faster than a traditional racing shoe would do. But the years went on and quite soon we could see that all the world's fastest marathoners were racing in the Vaporflies. And we even saw some cases of athletes who were sponsored by other brands also running in the Nike Vaporflies, of course painting over the Nike logo, but I guess that was a pretty good sign that there was something special about these new shoes. It even started popping up some independent studies that also showed that the Vaporflies would give you a better running economy than a traditional racing shoe, meaning that you will be able to run on the same pace with less effort with these shoes, and most probably that will make you run faster. After more and more evidence started to pop up that supported these shoes, I also started to believe that Nike had done something special with these new types of shoes and that they actually made a difference. And in 2019, Eliud Kipchoge did another attempt of becoming the first human ever to run a sub 2-hour marathon. And this time he did it in a prototype of the Nike ALPHAFLYs. And as you all know, he got it done. And this of course made these shoes very popular. The finished version of the ALPHAFLY was released to the public last spring, and of course quite quickly they came out of stock. And at least here in Norway you haven't been able to buy them for a really long time. But now they're back in stock, and of course I couldn't resist to try these really odd looking and expensive shoes out. I really can't decide if I think they look ugly or cool. They for sure look like a shoe from the future. What's supposed to be the technology behind these super shoes is an extremely soft midsole material, and that in combination with a carbon plate running through the entirety of the shoe will give you an extremely good energy return in each step. A new feature in the ALPHAFLYs is also these AirPods in the forefoot that are supposed to repel you forwards in the last part of the stride. That's the background about these shoes and why I decided to buy them. But all of this begs the question, did I make a mistake spending all of this money on a running shoe? Or did I actually buy myself a little bit of speed? And how do they actually feel to run in? In my testing I will be comparing the ALPHAFLYs to these, the Hoka One One Clifton 7, and one could for sure argue that it's sort of an unfair comparison because these are more of training shoes and not these super racing shoes that the ALPHAFLYs are. But these are my regular running shoes and the shoes I would have chosen in the past to race a road race with, and it's also a super popular shoe. And I think that this being more of a training shoe also puts even more pressure on the ALPHAFLYs for outperforming the Hokas. How I will be testing the shoes is on the treadmill to keep everything as standardized as possible. And I will be running intervals on a consistent pace, and between each interval repetition I will be switching between the shoes. And I will be wearing this heart rate strap to record my heart rate. And then I will just compare my average heart rate for the intervals that I ran with the Hokas and the intervals with the ALPHAFLY. And this heart rate strap also records some additional data like cadence and the ground contact time, which could also be interesting to see if there are any difference there between the shoes. So let's head to the gym. I'm so excited to try out the ALPHAFLYs and see how they feel. And another reason for not running outside today is that the conditions here is pretty slippery, not optimal conditions for running on roads. So the treadmill will be better, and of course it's easier to keep the same pace on all the intervals there as well. During the test I will be running 6 times 2 kilometer intervals, and I will be running them at a consistent pace of 3 minutes and 30 seconds per kilometer, or for you Americans 5 minutes and 37 seconds per mile, and I will of course be switching shoes in between each interval. Whoa! Just walking in these shoes feels very strange. It feels sort of unstable due to the very cushioned midsole and high stack height. So that was sort of a weird feeling, but I guess they are made for running and not for walking, so let's try that instead. So let's get a feel for how these shoes are feeling when running. I can directly say that these shoes are for sure made for running. They feel a lot more natural running in than walking. When I was walking they felt super clunky, to be honest, but now I can feel how they give me speed forward. I don't know how much of it is placebo, but you feel that they're super cushioned and then you get so much bounce back. The energy return in these are just sick, and you can feel that air pod pushing you forwards in the last part of the stride. So let's increase the speed a bit, because I can feel that these want to run fast. So this is the pace I will be running my intervals in later, and yeah, just wow. You can see that smile on my face. I did not expect the shoe to feel so special. I don't know how much is just my expectations of me wanting it to feel special, but this is unlike any other shoe I have tried on. Wow. Now I'm smiling. This was such a cool experience. Just for this feeling, I'm starting to feel that it was worth putting the money into these shoes. I really don't want to take off these shoes now, but I will do the last part of the warm-up with the hookahs before I start my intervals and start the testing of the shoes. So after trying out the ALPHAFLYs, the hookahs feel pretty boring to run in. They're still really comfortable. I've always liked these shoes, and you get a lot of cushioning just as in the ALPHAFLY. But the main difference is that you don't get that bounce back. You don't feel the energy return in every step. But it will be very interesting to see if this is all in my mind, just hyping up the ALPHAFLY, or if my heart rate actually will show that I can run on less effort on the same speed with ALPHAFLYs. So let's get the warm-up done and just start the intervals, and then I will see you back home when we will analyze this test. I'm super excited to see all the data from this. I got a great training session done, and now I'm home and I can't wait to go inside and look at all the data to see how the shoes performed. I've been sitting at the computer for a while now, nerding out, looking at all the data, and now I'm super excited to share the results with you. Let's head directly into the average heart rate of the 3 intervals that I ran with the Cliftons. And that heart rate was 138.7 beats per minute. And for the intervals with the Nike ALPHAFLYs, my average heart rate was, the tension is real here, 135 beats per minute. So not a gigantic difference, but still a difference there. And when I was running, I actually thought that the difference would be bigger because it felt a lot easier. But still a clear difference with 3.7 beats lower as an average with the ALPHAFLYs. When I was done with the 6 intervals, I also wanted to try out how much faster I could run those 2 kilometers if I tried to keep the same average heart rate that I had with the hookahs when I was running with the ALPHAFLYs. And the result from that was that I managed to nail the heart rate pretty good. The average was 139, and then I was able to run 2 kilometers in 6 minutes and 49 seconds compared to the 7 minutes with the Hokas. Again, not a huge difference, but still 2.7% faster with the ALPHAFLYs compared to the Hokas. And if we stretch that out for a longer distance, for example a marathon, if you have a pace that will give you a 3-hour marathon, those 2.7% will mean 5 minutes. So then it's quite a big difference when you say 5 minutes on a marathon. When I looked at the cadence and ground contact time, there was really close, no real difference between the shoes there. So it seems like I have a similar stride, but I just use a little bit less effort to keep that stride with the ALPHAFLYs. Of course, I know that my testing wasn't super scientific with only using myself as a test subject, but I still think it was super interesting to get some numbers to the shoes and not only go by feel. So, was it worth it spending all of this money on these shoes? After my testing and everything I read about the shoe, I'm now convinced that the shoe will make me run a little bit faster, but for most of us who are not elite level runners, the improvement you can get from more and better training is far beyond from what you can get from a pair of running shoes. For me, the real selling point of these shoes are the way they felt when I was running in them. As I said, it's unlike any other shoe I have tried, and I really enjoyed running in them. So would I recommend buying these shoes? The answer is yes and no. They are extremely expensive for being a pair of running shoes, but on the other hand, if you have the budget and you feel that these shoes will motivate you to train more and motivate you to do more races, then maybe it's a good purchase. But at least for me, I really enjoy them and I'm going to have a lot of fun running in them. But you for sure do not need an expensive pair of running shoes to enjoy running. Hope you liked this video, and if you would like to see more videos like this, maybe you want me to compare the ALPHAFLYs to another pair of shoes, just comment down below, and I always enjoy reading all of your comments. And if you like my channel and want to support me so I can create even more videos, you can check out my Patreon page that is linked down in the description. And if you join there, you will also get exclusive benefits. So for example, you will get all the data from my test if you want to sit down and geek out and look at all the data from the separate intervals and the ground contact time and all of those geeky stuff. So those will be available for my Patreon supporters. With that said, thanks for watching, and whatever shoes you're wearing, train smart, have fun, and I will see you in the next video.